Hello and welcome to this episode of Nick of Time, where we're going to talk about Cavs versus Knicks, Knicks versus Heat, Knicks versus Pistons game, and also some notes from around the league as I collected. But I'm going to start with the Knicks versus Cavs game. The Knicks had this game. The Knicks definitely had this game against the Cleveland Cavaliers. It was a lot of fourth quarter just mishaps. And I want to start with the Cat has to be more involved, first of all. Now, that was the thing in the Cavs game that instated for the next few games because you have games. That's why you play 82. You play 82 to learn. You learn from that game and then you play the next game. And we'll talk about the next game later. But yeah, they definitely learn from getting Cat more involved and why they should get him more involved. But look, it was a lot of just Jalen Brunson. Just let's go. And Jalen Brunson didn't have a good game. So if it's live by Jalen Brunson, die by Jalen Brunson, that's just not how it's going to work. Because especially if he has games, everybody has games where you shoot 6 for 24 and they only have like 20 points as number one option. That's going to happen. But it's about, do you win those games? That's what great teams do. They win those games. And the Knicks weren't able to win that game. McKellis more involved in the fourth. There's no reason why he shouldn't be taking shots in the fourth quarter. He's our second creator off the dribble on the perimeter. He's our second perimeter scorer. He should just be taking more shots, especially if Brunson's off. He should definitely be taking more shots. That's 100%. He should be taking more shots. McBride, he looks so much more comfortable with the ball, and that's one of my great things that I've seen for him this season is that he's just been looking way more comfortable with the ball. And that's just number one. He just looks great, looks comfortable, looks like he isn't gonna turn the ball over. He looks like safe with the ball, but he also looks like he wants to make a move. So it's a real it's a real good pattern or a good like fine line between he's not gonna turn the ball over, but he's also not just shooting the guy off and not gonna score. He's gonna be aggressive, but he also was not turning the ball over. So we had Ariel Hockporty in the game, non-garbage time minutes, which is great because Jericho Sims just hasn't been playing well this whole entire season. Just not well. And I think we expected him to be this serviceable backup big, but he just isn't. I think just straight up, he just hasn't been a great backup center. He just hasn't been the backup center we hope for him to be. If you have Ariel Hockporty, who showed himself in the preseason, and you want to go out and you want to trust him to go out in these early minutes, when Cat is out, that's 100%. I want to go. I like the move because you got to try different stuff. He looked good. He looked like he had energy. He looked like he gave the effort, and that's all you need for your backup big man to give enough time for Cat to get ready and come back in the game. Mikal Bridges, the mid range is amazing. That's one of the things that he has taken from Brooklyn and taken to New York. And I've said there's going to be some things he takes from Brooklyn and he reinstates New York, even with a better squad. He's going to still get his mid range shots up, and you've seen him 100%. He's been getting his mid range shots up. He's still been hitting his threes. So that's just I wasn't really going crazy panicking after the first game because I knew he had the midi, he had the 3-point shot. He has so many ways to score that it's just like, let's chill down. Let's chill the panic meter. Well, let's talk about Knicks versus Heat, man. Let's get into that game. Well, they definitely made a case to get Cat the ball early against the Heat, and I felt like Jalen Brunson, he is going to learn, and it was a great learning point from, this game's just stink if we don't give Cat the ball. The game's going to be really bad if we don't give Cat the ball. And he learned from that, and now he gave Cat the ball, and he understood that if Cat needs to have the ball, Cat needs to get touches. And Cat got touches, and he got touches all right. Knicks are defensive communicating way better. Like 100% better. Just the rotations look crisp. Everything about that looks so much better. And I was really worried about it in the earlier season, but they just looked so much better in the first half of the Cleveland Cavaliers game, in the Heat game as a whole, in the Pistons game, just communicating way better. But yeah, I mean, the 3-point shooting, Knicks should have put up more threes. Wasn't worried about that. I think that's what Brunson has just been amazing at controlling this offense. He's been the number one contributor to getting more threes, getting Cat the ball. He knows what to do. That's why I'm not going to go crazy if something doesn't happen. I want to because I know Jalen Brunson has the same thought in mind. He's going to do it the next game. Love Jalen Brunson. Love how he's been able to to learn and get other players the ball and let everybody eat, as he said um, in his comment. But these are other NBA notes that I'm seeing. The Clippers are just playing through James Harden, which I mean, I honestly knew that was going to happen. I mean, you got to see they have James Harden, they have these role players. Norman Powell's been great, but you see this type of Rockets James Harden type of offense. Now he's not Rockets James Harden, but it was kind of very good to see him just run this offense because he only makes the right plays. I know he had some turnovers in the late games, but he's always made the right plays. So I think that's a player that you want to get the ball to. We talked about the Knicks and Jalen Brunson, get him the ball, or Kat. Like you got to give the ball to guys who always make the right plays. And James Harden just a guy that will always make the right play, even at his old age. He will make the right play. Old NBA age, he'll make the right play. Jay Tatum is on a mission. I'm gonna say this as a Knicks fan. This guy's on a mission. He's he's definitely gotten more shots up the season. He's definitely been efficient, which I mean, this is a superstar. Man, it's a superstar. I don't know why people were going crazy last season. This guy's a superstar. And if the team needs a bucket, he'll get it. He really reads the game well for a still younger player. He reads the game pretty well. He knows when to get his buckets. He knows when to defer to his stars. But he also knows that I'm a superstar as well. I'm a superstar, and I got to take over. So he kind of has a good feel, and I really like that from Jason Tatum. That's one of my favorite things about him, about his game, and about his mentality is that he kind of reads the game as it goes through, and he knows that you know Jalen Brown has it going. Let's defer to him. Where I have it going, let's go. Let's get to work. Let's go cook. So he kind of has that kind of mentality in that field that I really love. And superstar players, a lot of superstar players that Nuggets get a monster game from Jokic and lose. Now this is not just a thing that I'm gonna put this as like a note. Bang, they lost that game. That's none of it. No, it's not in the season of the story of the Nuggets season. They get great games from Jokic, but they lose. And the biggest thing about them is they have locked themselves to this MPJ, Jamal Murray core, and Jokic and Gordon. It just isn't going to get yourself over the hump in the West. It just is not. Let's be honest. And tied yourself on the back end to get worse players. You can't get those Bruce Browns anymore. You can't go get those KCPs. You're going to have to get those Christian Browns that you get from the draft. And then you have to get like a Peyton Watson and Julius Strawther. Like Julius Strawther's nice. Peyton Watson's nice. But man, the shooting and the Russell Westbrook, the shooting with Jokic has just been awful. It's nice to see Jokic just have to like go crazy every single game. But man, this is gonna be really bad for the Nuggets because it's a lot on Jokic's play, and also they could just double him, and then they could just double off of Christian Braun. They could double off of Peyton Watson. They could double off of Russell Westbrook. Those are three players already I named that you could just double off of. And four, Aaron Gordon. Like those are four players you can double off of. It's never a good recipe because I'm always gonna tie this back to the Knicks. You have a bunch of players you just cannot double off of. The other players I would double off of on the Knicks is, of course, Jericho. Maybe Josh Hart. So that's like two players in the Knicks that I would double off of. Went out the Pachua, but that's three. And they're also running a different kind of system as the Knicks. They're running a system where double team, we're gonna find the open man, and we're gonna let Jokic passing do the thing. And if Jokic passing is not gonna lead to assists, then you're just not doing anything. You're just resetting. So it's basically Jokic gets the ball, he's doubled, reset back to Russell Westbrook. Because if he shoots it, he's missing it. And there's no assist from Jokic. So Jokic is not creating plays right now. So he's going to have to do it by himself. I mean, he's Nikola Jokic. He's like one of the best. He's probably going to go down as like a top 3 center of all time. So he's Jokic. So, but like still, man, and Michael Porter Jr.'s got to hit his shots. Number one thing, he's got to take kind of leap in the 3-point shooting. He's got to be consistent almost every single night for that team to be very good. Jamal Murray just has to show up. Jamal Murray hasn't showed up since crazy playoff games. Like late games is the only time he showed up. So he's got to show up in early games. And the Nuggets really need him because they tied himself into this core of Gordon, Jokic, Jamal, and Porter Jr. So that's just the big thing about the Nuggets right now. Chris Paul with the Spurs is so important. I mean, I saw a play, a tiny little play where Victor Wembanyama tries to get a seal. Chris Paul doesn't find him. He goes up to Wemby. He talks to him. I think it was a different play, but he talks to him just about what he should have did. Should he call for the ball? And it was just like, I'm sorry. Like that presence is just so overlooked. The veteran presence. I know people throw that stuff out, but it's like throw that word out, veteran presence. But Chris Paul is literally a veteran presence. As much as I don't really like him as a player, I don't really like him as a person off like his personality on the court. I don't like him at all. But just you gotta respect the veteran presence that he brings to a team, and it's a veteran presence. It's helping Jokic a ton. Um, Even though the pick and roll, you can just go under on Chris Paul and let him shoot. But hey, Chris Paul is doing fine. He's doing good with the Spurs. But I think the biggest thing they're getting out of this is for even players like Devin Vassell and players like Victor, they're gonna learn a lot. Victor's gonna learn a lot, and it's just a good bridge point to get in this. It's a good bridge to get like a bridge quarterback. You bring in like I don't know, a bridge quarterback, a Teddy Bridgewater. Those type of bridge quarterbacks. Of Joe Flacco to get yourself that star point guard, to get yourself that star quarterback. So you're having that bridge type of point guard when they can wait until they get their star point guard. So I feel like that's what Spurs are doing, but they have a very good bridge point guard who Victor will learn a lot from. Um, yeah, the Hornets are definitely competing. And I feel like that's the biggest thing about these young teams is, do they compete, or do they just like book it in? Do you just throw the book out? Like let's just like run whatever you want. Let's not compete. If we're down by 20, let's just throw everybody out. But yeah, the Hornets have competed defensively and offensively. I think Charles Lee has bring that type of mentality of, we're gonna compete. We're gonna be hard nosed. We're gonna compete, and the Hornets have really like met that expectation. They lost the game against the Celtics, but they met that expectation. I mean, the team's not talented at all. The team's really not that talented, but they just compete at a high level. LaMelo's talented. Miller's talented. Miles Bridges is talented. But besides that, it's really like nothing. I mean, there's nothing really there. Trey Mann's been Allen Iverson. So, yeah, I mean, the talent isn't really there, but it's going to get there. We got to see players develop like Miller. Bridges got to still develop. Maybe Trey Mann develops. I think there's there's gonna be a big developing year for the Hornets, but you got to look at them. They're still gonna compete because they have one of those guards. There's always gonna be. I always say that you like play teams have those guards. The Knicks have Jalen Brunson. Even the Hawks have that Trey Young guard. They're always going to be competing. What I mean by competing, they're always going to be playing for the play-in. So when you have that guard, it's just about the team that goes around you, which pushes you over the top. I mean, Trey Young never got his team around him, so it's always been like play-in. But a team that you see Jalen Brunson with the Knicks, that team pushes you over that play-in type stuff. But yeah, they're always going to be competing with that LaMelo Ball, unless he stays healthy, unless he gets hurt. Which, knock on wood, he doesn't get hurt. But they're always going to be competing with him. He's just crazy. The shots that he makes is amazing. Just those one-legged threes, just his passing ability, just the way he can get other people involved. It's just typical 6'7" jumbo point guard that is just great shooting. It's crazy, but it happens. And LaMelo Ball has been one of the great point guards in this league. Um, Lakers beating real competition with JJ Redick. I mean, they are really playing well, and the reason why is that JJ Redick has been able to implement his type of basketball into the Lakers without having like a pushback of like LeBron saying, "Oh, this," or AD saying this. He's been able to implement his playbook into the Lakers. I mean, having playing LeBron more off ball and that type of stuff, like having LeBron play more off ball, there's that type of stuff. Um, uh, JJ Redick has really implemented his style into the Lakers team, which I love. I always had a bunch of faith in JJ Redick, but he has showed me every single day he's been a better coach. Every single day I felt more clarifying that JJ Redick is that guy as a coach for this Lakers team. They're gonna have very good stability at the coaching position that they need. It's a difference between him and Darvin Ham, but I think it's a great difference because this team's not really that talented. Like as you look at the other teams in the West, so they kind of need those plays to get their players open. And JJ Redick has just implemented his playbook, and letting them play, being like Darvin Ham, just isn't going to work. Because you look at the West teams that have talent. I mean, the Kings have a bunch of talent in their same stratosphere. Like the Kings have De'Aaron Fox, DeMar DeRozan, Domantas Sabonis, Kevin Huerter, like Keegan Murray. Like that's their starting five, and they have a bunch of skill there. So the Lakers just having to compete with that And with their kind of skill like D'Lo, Austin Reeves, LeBron, AD, I mean that's not really a lot of like top end talent. I mean, not a top end talent, like lower talent. They have the top end talent, but they don't have the lower talent, which means you gotta have run some plays with that. You gotta get Austin Reeves off some ball screens. You gotta get some Dalton Connect off the bench. Get him off some ball screens, and get him off some flare screens, or get D'Lo off some flare screens, or get Austin Reeves off some flare screens that maybe JJ Redick has ran in his NBA career. I mean, he's been implementing plays to Dalton Connect that JJ Redick has ran in his career, which is kind of crazy. So that's kind of the new thing of like JJ Redick has ran those plays in his career. Dalton Connect's running the same play I feel like JJ Redick has ran for the Clippers or for the 76ers. So it's like crazy. But yeah, the shooters have really benefited from him, and also just LeBron and AD has just benefited. So it's great to see them back in the mix in the West, because they should be. I mean, they have LeBron and AD. There's talent there. They should be always in the mix in the West, especially for a play-in spot or even for that 6th or 5th seed. They should always be there with LeBron and AD. So it's great to see that they have the coach to push them over the top. Bam just needs to shoot more. But what I mean by shooting more, needs to be inside the paint. You're bailing out defenders by just shooting those mid-range shots when they cut you off. Go down and back that player down. Like, there's players like Nick Richards that you should be able to back down. You should be able to take him to school. Like, even Kat, Carl Towns on the screen. Take him to school. Like back him down. Do your post moves, because Bam Adebayo, if you guys have not been watching for a long time, Bam Adebayo has been one of the guys that I really trust who has kind of the best footwork in the league. One of the best footwork in the league is Bam Adebayo. He has great footwork. So I think he just needs to use that a little bit more. He needs to be more assertive. But those mid-range shots where he gets bumped and he shoots, like, bro, like, you're 6'8", you're powerful, you have great footwork. That's great mix. And then if the mid-range shot's gonna be there, you could shoot that 1 or 2 times a game. You hit them, but just those bump midi, bailing your defender out, just is not gonna work. It just isn't gonna work. Especially when I seen that Jimmy Butler's just sitting there being like, sitting there sleeping for half the game. It's just you need Bam to be more assertive. But yeah, I mean, the good side of this Heat team has been the gem of this Heat team has been Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero is just so good. We've always seen him be this type of player, but it's been more apparent this year with the offensive role for him just expanding. It's the perfect thing. Get your guard, the guard role expands, he gets better. I think it's the typical thing. But with Tyler Hero, he's always been this guy. He's always been this guy has been dangled in trades, but now he's found his role in the Heat. He's got his contract. He's been very, very comfortable. Very comfortable. We saw him play against the Knicks. He played very well. Just the way he can shoot the ball, just the way he competes offensively. It's just perfect guard, man. Perfect guard to put next to Jimmy Butler. Hopefully that Jimmy Butler stays awake for half the game and doesn't just be like, oh, it's the fourth quarter now. What do I got to do? I only have 5 shots in the fourth quarter. What am I going to do? Like, that type of stuff, it needs to get better. But Tyler Hero has been this bright spot for them. Usage is perfect for him. Needs to be that type of usage player because he's great. I drafted him a lot in my fantasy basketball. I had to trade him away in one of my leagues for Devin Booker, and back in that package because the other team wanted wanted Tyler Hero in that package because a game like the package was surrounding like Franz Wagner and somebody else, Franz Wagner and Devin Booker. So he wanted somebody like Tyler Hero also in that trade. Don't say I got scammed, but I'm just telling you about how good I was expecting him to be. I drafted him in another league. I have 2 fantasy basketball leagues, so I drafted him in both leagues. And I just kind of felt that this was going to be a time for Tyler Hero. And he's finally settled into his role, got his contract, and this is the time for Tyler Hero to get going. And he's gotten going more. Chet is one of the greatest defenders I've ever seen with my own 2 eyes. I mean, I've seen not a lot of defenders. I'm only like 16. So I've seen not a lot of defenders, but man, Chet has been one of those defenders, man. Like that, it's just disruptive every single time you try to put him a shot. He's been great. And the Thunder defense has been buying into what Mark Dagnall has been trying to do, just buying into it. And Chet's been just great. Chet's been amazing, and he's taken that step up that I love. Taking that step up. I know Josh Giddey has been out, which kind of led the usage. Which kind of left some usage there from Giddey. So it had to be on to somebody else. and Chet has just scooped up that usage and just been able to just dominate with that usage. He's been great. Um, he's been the Thunder have trusted him to dribble the ball more, get up, use the ball a little bit more. Just great. Just Chet has been great. Banchero's out for the Magic. How do they get their offense going? It's gonna be they're gonna have to find some people. They're gonna have to find some people. Tristan Silva had a good game yesterday. Like they're gonna have to find some people. But I think that defense is always gonna keep them in games if they play those type of teams. I mean, if they play the Knicks, probably not. But if they play those teams like the Pacers or like even like they could beat the Pistons still, but like if they play those teams like on their kind of stratosphere, they could beat them by just their defense. They could keep not even just beat them. They could keep in games with that type of defense, like the Warriors, like the Kings. Maybe they could stay in some games just by their defense. But it's about how do you finish games with that offense. It's gonna be great to see who takes that next step. I mean, there's been a lot of Jalen Suggs offense, so let's see if he takes that next step offensively. Maybe this is just a blessing in disguise for Jalen Suggs to finally find himself offensively with the ball in his hands. Um, I mean, this is just straight up. I'm going to talk about the Thunder even more. They just do not have bad players. It's just simple. They do not put out bad players. They just don't. Caruso played a little bit. I mean, off the bench, you have Jalen Williams, the other Jalen Williams, the center. They just do not play bad players. So a lot of teams have their seventh, eighth, and nine man being like I mean the eighth and ninth man being like they're not really that good, or eighth or ninth and 10 man be that not that good. But the Thunder, just every single guy they put out is a very good basketball player. So that's just that simple. That being that simple has just took them to another level. Um, Bucks just look old. It's great for the Knicks, but the Bucks just look old. They don't have any defense. Doc Rivers has just been not that guy for them. Their defense has just struggled every single year. They put this thing together with Giannis and trade away Drew Holiday. I mean, it's just this thing about like Damian Lillard is an offensive guy, but their offense hasn't been really that good either. So it's like, what are you getting now? So it's like, what do you like? That's the same thing. Like, what do you get? So yeah, I mean, whole thing about guys trying to ask out. I mean, I don't think that's gonna happen. But we'll see how the Bulls like I mean not Bulls, how the Bucks like kind of hang on to this, how the Bucks make something happen. Because they're gonna have to make something happen. I think this Bucks team is gonna be good because they have Doc Rivers, who's a very good regular season coach. But once you get down to the playoffs and people can kind of expose your weaknesses, that weakness of playing defense, you just being old, not being able to move your feet, that's just gonna be taken advantage of you. So let's see what the Bucks do in the trade deadline if they can do anything. But that's about it. Peace out. Have a nice day. That's going to do it for the episode of Nick of Time. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're a big Knicks fan or NBA fan like me, because I'll be pumping out this content every week, all season long. Peace. Have a nice day. Let's go Knicks.